for
Yeah.
folks in general.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah, obviously there weren't, the size, I mean, of Iowa State, not just crooks, right, but their athleticism. But, I thought Iowa State had everything to do with that, but I also think that we didn't show quite as well as we could have. But I think it was because of Ava's foul trouble that set the tone. And I said in my media over there that whatever post was going to get in that foul trouble first, it's hard to play free. And so tonight, when Ava got that first one, I just, we sat her right away to try to, it wasn't necessarily for any lesson, but it was like, we just can't get a quick two because I just don't want to get in that habit. And it was nice to see Layla also respond. So I gave them a shout out actually in the locker room because I feel like they did a lot of good, intense work this last couple of days of practice. And even though maybe the opponent wasn't as formidable in size, I thought they were really paying much more attention to detail.
Given that you have, a week off before this game, a week off, after this game, and then another week after UConn, just how big was it to get, some positive vibes off of Wednesday?
Yeah, it really was huge, and I still, feel like there were so much more positives out of Wednesday than negatives. It just, those games, I mean, whatever rivalry it is, when you can have all the emotion and it swings one way or the other and it comes down to be a possession game at the end, for however the story was written to get to that point, I think that's a rivalry game, right? And it showed us a lot of things that we can improve on, which I think we did. I have to watch the film. There were some different parts of our offense I think that we just forgot to utilize. We did better tonight. But I think for their psyches, right? I wasn't really happy with our start of the game or the second half. I just thought we were a little quieter than I think our defense talking and just their sense of urgency. But they cleared it up a little bit, relatively quickly. We're again the size, but that's a nice team. They shoot the ball really well. So I think Amy Egan does a really good job, and she hasn't been there so long. So I was happy with overall their performance.
How important was it to? I know Lindenwood's not Iowa State, they're not UConn, they're not you're gonna play in the Big Ten, but to see her put up 31 points today, how important was it to just get a good performance?
Yeah, and that's what I think. I mean, that was really, this whole year we really haven't seen Hannah be Hannah. And a game like at Ames, if Hannah's even half of who she is, I mean, maybe it's a different outcome, right? That just wasn't usually a Hannah performance offensively. So I'm hopeful. When she came out one time, I just reminded her, I said, that's who you are, right? And even though they weren't as big, I mean, Hannah's done that the last 3 or 4 years against some bigger people and those putbacks and kind of absorbing the contact. So it was nice to see, and I hope she can draw on that. You just got to keep looking at the positives. There were plenty of the things that, I wish I, would have done a little differently in that third quarter. But I was really, over at Ames, I was trying to get the more high post action and trying to put Ava up there a little bit, right? But sometimes the pressure cooker and the mind, we just couldn't remember to get that set. And I should have probably called a little earlier timeout. So that was on me to try and get her freed up a little bit more that way. But I thought today it should be a good confidence boost for her.
Ethan, Emily missed her 5th straight game, and you called her day-to-day. Day-to-day means like she could be back tomorrow or she could be back, question mark in the future. Do you have an idea of what that ceiling could be on her injury? And then what's going to be like the ramp-up process when she does get back from that injury? Like you can't go, 40 minutes right away.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of things I'm trying to figure out with that one. So it's definitely day-to-day.
I guess I kind of have two things. First off, Chit Chat left early in the second half, and we didn't see a return to the bench. Do you have?
Yeah, no, I think I feel like we're just being really cautious with. I think after that injury that she had, I think it even happened during the Iowa State game where I think there's a little bit of a fog. I don't know, but call it fogginess. But the fear of fogginess is like you take a kind of a hit to the head, or you feel that body, and she suffered some whiplash on top of a concussion. So with a kid, when you go through that and what that protocol is, it's it can be nervousness. You get in there and you're feeling like, oh, wait a second, is this off, right? And so I think out of an abundance of caution, knowing what we have to prepare for, it was just not necessary to, push that through. And it gives, Strim more and more minutes because it's going to take everything we got next week, right? Everybody's got to be able to play and, manage any minutes that they get. So we were just making sure that everything was great. And so far it's checked out fine. But this will be nice. There's not a big game. We have tomorrow's off, and we have this whole week. So then, chat is like, can breathe a little bit because all things, tested fine. But I just think, she got rocked really hard. And those memories kind of come back from you a little bit more vividly. So hopefully we can work through that because, now when we attack the rest of our season, every game is a big one. And not that they haven't, but it's power fours and size and intensity and the pressure. So I'm hopeful we can get beyond this.
Did she get hit in the head today or anything?
I didn't hear that part.
Okay.
I don't know if it was or not, but I just know that it was. She was a little bit concerned and nervous about it. So we just thought, well, let's just chill it. Yeah.
Have you evolved your philosophy in terms of getting younger players and like more reserve type players more minutes in these games where you're getting bigger leads? It seems like you're going to your bench a little bit sooner than you did last year.
Yeah, it is, trying. And there's it can be so simple it appears, and then it's so difficult because you look like a genius if you sub and you win. And then you're an idiot if you sub too much and it's too close and you lose. What are you doing? They don't have enough people in their game, right? So this was a game I felt like we were going to be okay, and I need to keep. It didn't matter what it looks like, how it looks like. I need to keep seeing how people are going to respond in game situations and how they handle if they're not making it, or how do they impact the game in another way. So this was a decision that I made today. I really, really wanted to try to push those, minutes for the younger ones. And I think our younger ones are, they're really coming. Journey Houston, she got beat a couple of times backdoor in that first half, but her sense and her nose for the ball, I love how she's playing. Strim continues to keep improving. Layla Hayes, I thought she had some, better minutes today. The environment on Wednesday, I think that was a good experience for her. So yes, but there's a learning curve that comes with being able to sub, but it's inexact science.
Lindenwood kept it close even into the second quarter. So where do you feel like the spark really came from for you guys to be able to pull away?
Yeah, I think I'd have to look at the film for that. Today we shot the ball extremely well. If we wouldn't have shot the ball that well, it could have been a little tough sledding. You're a little closer, and then I think in games like these over the years, I've learned that sometimes I can feel my internal temperature rising because I just want to look really great every minute. And, when we didn't look so good offensively for a second, or defensively we got hammered by, we didn't jump to the ball or whatever, I think staying steady helped us a little bit. But I think when we subbed a little bit, we kind of, got some other people in there. I think Strimla was always a spark. I just do. She comes up with her hands on the ball. She plays with a passion, and she just always thinks she's going to, make the next great play. But I think Hannah Stalky led us today, and I'm really happy to say that because it's been a long time coming so far this year. And I think that's just managing it and being a senior and wanting it, all the things, but just been trying to help her break through that. So I'm hopeful today is a better feeling for her today.
Any correlation between Hannah's aunt doing the anthem?
I don't know. Maybe if it is, sign her up. I'll take her on the road. She can sing the anthem for us in the locker room, right? But, I thought that was a special moment. It reminded me in one of our NCAA tournaments, Emma Bluter got to sing. And I remember, Lisa, I know that was a mother-daughter, but Hannah's pretty close to her family. So I think that was a special moment.